All right, so we are going to flip forward a few pages in our book. That's just so that we can get all the different examples on one spot so we don't have to flip through so many pages. We are moving on to two-step inequalities. So I am on page 516. I'm going to be doing number 1 through 4 with you, and then you'll have an assignment at the end. All right, so on number 1, we're going to treat our inequalities just like we have been. And like we did with our two-step equations. We're always going to draw our line, and we're going to work on the side that has the variable, so 5x minus 7. In order to get rid of that minus 7, I'm going to add a 0 pair of a positive 7. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. That makes a 0 pair. I'm left with 5x is greater than or equal to 43 plus 7 is 50. Since 5 and x are multiplied, I do the opposite operation, which is division. What you do to one side, you do to the other. X, and since I divided by a positive number, my sign stays the same. 50 divided by 5 is 10. So my answer is x is greater than or equal to 10. Now when I'm graphing this on my line, I have to use 10, a number bigger, and a number smaller. Since x could equal 10, I have a closed circle. And then it's greater than that, so I point the arrow where the numbers are greater than 10. So that would be your answer. On number 2, I do the same thing. I work on the side that has the variable, so 7 plus x divided by 5. I need to get rid of that 7, so I'm going to add a 0 pair of negative 7. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. This makes a 0 pair. I have x divided by 5. And then 11 minus 7 is 4. Since x divided by 5, I do the opposite operation. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So I multiply by 5. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. Again, since I multiplied by a positive number, my sign is going to stay the same. 4 times 5 is 20. I like to rewrite it so that x comes first. So x, since it's eating x there, I have to make sure that when I rewrite it, it's eating x here again. So my answer is x is greater than or equal to 20. When I'm drawing this on my number line, since it could equal 20, I have a closed dot, and since it's greater than, my arrow points to where the numbers are greater than 20. All right, number 3, financial literacy. A rental car company charges $45 plus 20 cents per mile to rent a car. Mr. Lawrence does not want to spend more than $100 for his rental car. So we're going to write and solve an inequality to figure out how many miles he can drive and not spend over 100. Okay, so we have to pay for the rental car, and that is $45. Plus we have an additional 20 cents per mile. We don't know how many miles we're going, so let's just put N. But we know that he doesn't want to spend more than $100. He could spend $100, so it could equal $100. But not anything more than that, so we're going to have less than or equal to 100. All right, to solve this, we work on the side that has the variable. I have a positive 25, so to get rid of it, I'm going to subtract, sorry, did I say 25? I meant 45. Subtract 45, which you do to one side, you always do to the other. This makes a 0 pair. I have 20 cents times m is less than or equal to 100 minus 45 is 55. And then since that 20 cents is multiplied to m, I do the opposite operation, so I'm going to divide. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. I type in my calculator. 55 divided by 20 hundredths, and I get 275. And since I divided by a positive number, my sign stays the same. So m is less than or equal to 275. To interpret that solution, I would say he can drive 275 or less miles. And that would be my final answer for that. All right. On number 4, I'm going to erase this so that you can see it a little bit better. We have 2x plus 8 is greater than 18, and 2x plus 8 is less than or equal to 18. So in order to compare their answers, let's go ahead and just solve both of them. So I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to get rid of that positive 8 by subtracting 8. Made a 0 pair. I have 2x is greater than 10. I did the opposite operation, so I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. X is greater than 5. Okay, if I was to draw that on the number line, I have 5, 6, 4. I have an open circle because it can't equal 5, but the arrow is going to go that way in order to show it's greater than. On the other one, I'm going to subtract 8, make a 0 pair. I get 2x is less than or equal to 10. And again, going to divide by 2, divide by 2. X is less than or equal to 5. So this time, if I graph that on that same number line, I have x could equal 5, or it could be less than that. So, even though they contain the same numbers, you can see that the two answers are completely different. Together, they actually make an all real numbers answer, but we'll talk about that probably next year when we get into that. But just know that even though the numbers look the same, you can get completely different answers just based off of the sign that you use. So make sure that you pay attention to those little details. All right, so your assignment is to do page 517, number 1 through 4. Take a picture and submit it to Google Classroom.